Hello, everyone. Before we get into the speed paint, I'd like to preface this with a few things. 1. The Wings of Fire What If format was originally done by Cypress, so credit to her for that. 2. I'm still trying to figure out how best to do speed paints, so I filmed this one differently than my previous one. This video contains flashing images and bright colors / eye strain due to the nature of my Peril design. With that out of the way, let's get into the speed paint. Peril's earliest memory is her mother hissing in pain as she carries the burning dragonette into the sky, before hiding her in a mountain cave. The fine scales and calloused skin of Kestrel's palms are now a contorted mess of bloody wounds. They hide for just under a month. In that time, Peril is forced to learn to fly months early. When her mother is confident in her ability not to fall, the two set off for the Talons of Peace's nearest encampment. When they arrive a few days later, Peril is introduced to many dragons very quickly. An inquisitive sea-wing, a domineering mudwing, and ice-wing her mother stares at for a bit too long. Eventually, her mother introduces her to a mudwing named Asha, and her boyfriend, an ice-wing named Heavicher. 6 months go by. Peril is trained to fight, first by Kestrel, and later assisted by Asha, Heavicher, and occasionally others. She's taught the fighting styles of nearly every tribe involved in the ongoing war, and she learns to take pride in both her knowledge and her scales, even if being the only fire scales sometimes makes her lonely. Eventually, her mother tells her they're moving, but doesn't specify where they're going, only that Asha, Heavicher, a sea-wing named Webbs, and a sand-wing named Dune are going with them. She also learns that Dune's wing is broken, and that the group will need to walk, much to Kestrel's chagrin. Peril doesn't mind. Asha brings along an odd, newly hatched dragonette, their soft scales a muddy brown with lavender spikes and blue hands. It doesn't take long for Peril to realize that this dragonette, named Avalanche, must have been fathered by Heavicher. Meanwhile, Dune brings an egg, a small yellow one with a few black speckles, that looks nowhere near hatching. Peril's mother seems concerned about if the egg is really a sandwing. Dune assures her that it is. The group's new home is a cave system beneath a mountain, the entrance requiring a key held by Dune to open. A lot happens over the course of the next few days. Webbs, Heavicher, and Asha all attempt to acquire eggs from various tribes for a mysterious prophecy. Asha brings a blood-red mudwing egg, and tells Peril that the dragonette inside will have fire-resistant scales, and she can't wait for them to hatch. Asha disappears a few weeks later. Peril never sees her again, but can tell something bad must have happened when she overhears her usually emotionless mother sobbing. Webbs brings a deep blue sea-wing egg, and a mysterious, gigantic nightwing gives them a black egg with white, star-like speckles. It's a stormy night when Heavicher leaves to retrieve a skywing egg. He never comes back. Peril and her mother are forced to break the news to Avalanche that their father is dead, and Kestrel adopts the hybrid as their own, making them Peril's new sibling. The Guardians argue about a solution for their lack of a skywing for a long time. Dune suggests Peril should be the dragonette, but Kestrel insists that she'll ruin the prophecy. Peril doesn't get to voice her thoughts. The lost skywing egg is eventually substituted for a rainwing egg by Webbs, and the 5 dragonettes of destiny hatch together, out of sight of the 3 moons above, hidden below a mountain, and watched over by their guardians, 2 of which have now been replaced by 1-year-old Peril and 6-month-old Avalanche. As Peril and Avalanche grow older, Peril spends more and more time with Clay and Sunny, the mudwing and supposedly sandwing dragonettes, and Avalanche spends more time with Tsunami, Glory, and Starflight, the sea-wing, rainwing, and nightwing dragonettes. Though the adult guardians leave the cave most often, they occasionally invite Peril or Avalanche along. They do not extend the same courtesy to the younger dragonettes. The dragonettes of Destiny are 6.5 years old when the huge nightwing who brought the guardians Starflight's egg appears for a visit. His name is Marosir. Where he was wordless and distant last time, this time he attacks the dragonettes. Kestrel had instructed Peril and Avalanche the night before not to intervene. They follow her order, though it breaks Peril's heart to see her siblings fight. Then the insults begin. Marosir calls Clay and Tsunami satisfactory, but it doesn't sound like a compliment. Then he calls Sunny barely a sandwing, berating her small size and lack of a tail barb. He glares at Glory. "What is that?" he snarls. The hue of Glory's scales become a mix of reds and oranges. Is this a good hint? She asks nonchalantly. Peril didn't think a dragon could look meaner. That is your skywing, he asks, turning to the guardians. That thing is a rainwing. I know, the rainwing snarks. Isn't it great? Mauricio doesn't respond, his eyes now locked on Avalanche and Peril. You let these defects stick around, he growls at Kestrel. Peril and Avalanche are my dragonettes, she snarls back. For a moment, Peril thinks that her mother is going to kill the Night Ring then and there. She's almost surprised when she blacks down instead. Mauricio turns back to the Dragonets of Destiny, leading Starflight away into another cave. Tension is high that night, and Peril goes to sleep early. The young adult Skywing is awoken the next morning by the horrifying sound of Dune screaming. She bursts to her feet and finds her cave mates at the open entrance to their home, being attacked by a bejeweled Skywing riddled with guards. She realizes almost instantly that the Skywing is Queen Scarlet. Peril! Her mother roars when she enters the fight, scorching an unlucky guard. Find the talons! Kestrel instructs. Peril wants to stay. She wants to fight. She was trained to fight this battle. She has been trained to listen to her superiors. In the back of her mind, Peril recalls the way to the nearest Talons of Peace encampment. She kills 2 more guards in the air as she speeds away. 2 days of flying, and for nothing. The camp is scorched, and though Peril sees enough corpses to last her a lifetime, she finds no one left alive. She's pretty sure she cries for a whole day. She feels like she's going to die of starvation when she stops. She forces herself to hunt, and when her head is semi-clear, Peril plans her next move, the voice in her head sounding just like her mother. She'll storm the palace, that's what she'll do. Their weapons will be useless against her fire skills. 2 days later, Peril, alone, storms the Skyring Palace. She threatens a guard until she's told where the prisoners are kept. The arena. In another life, she could have been the queen of this blood pit. Peril's wings are on fire as she dives like a falcon through the air, her talons connecting with the Skywing Queen, who stands on a decorated platform separated from the stands by guards. A massive, battle-scarred Sandwing stands beside her. Scarlet burns to death before she can react. Avalanche and Tsunami are in the ring. They aren't fighting. Avalanche's talons are littered by dried blood, and their expression looks dead. Peril can't help but blame herself. The dragons in the stands, a mix of Skywings, Sandwings, and a few Mudwings, panic, most taking to the air. The Sandwing, who Peril later learns is Princess Byrne, lunges for the fire scales. She stops, however, when a dark liquid collides with her face. Peril's eyes search for where the venom came from, and settle on Glory, who's perched menacingly in a metal tree, free of chains. Peril burns away the cords restricting Avalanche and Tsunami's wings. Before moving to the rest of her family, Clay manages to convince her to free some of the other prisoners as well, and she begrudgingly does. She receives no thanks from any of them, only a few shrieks of terror despite not hurting them. When she can't find Starflight or Sunny, Avalanche tells her that they know where Scarlet was keeping Sunny, but that she'll have to worry about Starflight later. Peril leads the group through the panicked palace, freeing Sunny from what was seemingly a bird cage before taking off again. Kestrel leads the group to a waterfall along the Diamond Spray Delta, where they land and hide. I'm returning to the Talons of Peace, Kestrel says. She doesn't look at the Dragonets of Destiny, only Avalanche and Peril. You can come with me. Peril takes a step back, shaking her head. No way! I'm not going back! I'm not going to let the prophecy fail. This war needs to end, and they, she gestures a wink towards her younger siblings, are going to end it, and I am going to help them. Her mother exhales. If that's your decision. Avalanche? Avalanche looks at Peril, and she can tell they're considering it. Don't, she tries to think to them. But eventually, they turn back to Kestrel and give her a nod. To Peril's disbelief, they move to her mother's side, giving their siblings a muttered goodbye. And that's the end. If you guys really liked this one, then I'd be down to do a part 2. If you'd like to see more, then please comment. Also, feel free to comment ideas for another Wings of Fire What If. This what if takes place in an alternate universe I've been writing for a while, called Wings of Fire Twisted Fates. If the name sounds familiar, it's because I've posted a few things about it before, primarily my labor PMV and a few map parts. Regardless, Twisted Fates has many more stories to tell. This video took a long time to make, not only because I had to write an actual story, but because I had to do the speed paint and I had to find time to record. If you'd like to see more of my art more often, I'd recommend following my Tumblr, either Renly WOFAU or It's Renly Art. With that said, have a nice day, and remember to subscribe. Thank you. Here's my final drawing. From left to right, here's Peril, Avalanche, Sunny, Clay, Tsunami, Glory, and Starflight. Thank you for watching, and Renly out.